Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. In this video I'll be going over weldments, which is like, think of having a standardized section, so let's say box tube or RHS or whatever it is, and using that with the weldments tool in Solidworks to create a framework or whatever. But this video will be covering making custom sections because the default library is kind of slim and doesn't have too much, so you'll be needing to add your own, or where to go to put some if you find a library somewhere that has a bunch of files for it. So first of all, to create your own, we're going to go to a new part, and we're going to go to sketch. So we're going to go to a front plane, sketch, and let's say we want to make some box tube or something. So we want to go box, and let's say it's like 50 by 50 box. 50, 50 by, let's say it's 3, so offset entities. 3. Normally that does all around. For some reason it's being very nitpicky. So now I've got this here, and I'm going to close this sketch. So this is a very important step, otherwise it won't work. So I'm going to close this, and this is now selected, as you can see. And I go File, Save As, File, Save As, and I'm going to, the file type is libfeatpart. And it's automatically moved it to somewhere else, but save it somewhere you know where you are. So I'm going to go back to the folder I was in, so it was like in here, tutorials. Yep. And now once I've saved it, if it's going to work, there's going to be this little icon here next to the sketch, which I don't know if you can see or not, but it's a little L over the sketch, and that means it's worked. Now what I'm going to actually do is close this part, because I'm actually going to, I need to move that file, or you can copy and paste it. And so I'm going to find that, so we go to CAD, tutorials. So I've got this file here, and now I need to move this file. So open up. Now this is going to change on depending on where things are saved on your computer, right? So I'm going to go this PC, local disk, not SolidWorks data. We're going to go to Program Files. We're going to go to SolidWorks Corporation, SolidWorks. Then there should be a file called lang. We open that. English, not tutorials, weldment profiles. And now this is where all your weldment profiles are stored. So to show you what I'm talking about here, I first got to show you what weldments are. So if I go into a part and top plane, let's just say I want to build a frame that looks like that. Done. Now in weldments here, so I go weldments, structural members. Now, so you've got your standard. So some of these files, I think you get ISO and ANSI with SolidWorks. The Action Aluminium and other folder are the ones that I've added myself. So they're the folders that I've added here. So if you create a new folder in this, it'll show up here. And so when you're creating your own thing, you might want to, label certain things, whatever. But there's also two layers, right? So this is the standard. So if I go into other, and then I've got different sort of types. I've got angle, channel, tube, or universal beam. So in my instance, what did I make? Box tube. So I'd be going into tube, and I would paste this into here, 50 by 50 by 3 box. Now I'm not going to do that because I'll do that as an example. So if I change this, so it's called something very bizarre. So if I copy that and I paste it in there, says, do you want to do that? So you can also just move it in there, that'll be fine, but you need to close the part itself in Solidworks to be able to move it. And then you press continue, and now this random name is sitting in there. So if I go to tube other, I might need to close that for a sec. Structural member, tube, here's our random part that's come up in here. So I select that, and then I can add it to the part now. So there's several ways to. So if I just select these, it automatically puts in a miter. So you can change that in here, but it's kind of doesn't really work that great. And there's a few other options about spacing things out, which are all in there. What I tend to do though is I might just make this rectangle a bit bigger so it's easier to see. Oh, that's 200, not 2000. That's still 200. Done. So, structural member. And we've got our yes J on there. So I'm just going to select opposites. You can do one at a time. So there's a few options you can do. So you can select this, and I can do this one, and then go new group, and then go this one, and then this one. And I think it's actually automatically made this the master and this the slave in terms of how things are cut, which is nice. So that's an option. You can also just structural member. So let's say if I want to just do, if I do opposites or things that are supposed to be the same, you can also mirror these. Actually, I might do a mirror as a good example. So I'll just do one of these. So sometimes it's actually better to mirror the bodies rather than the sketch. Sometimes, because if you're doing 3D sketches, it can get really hairy really quickly. So if I want to just mirror that component, mirror about this center plane, and I don't want to do features. I'll probably do bodies. I'll see if that bugs it out though. And then we want to go structural members, and I'm going to add these two. And now to finish these corners off, I go to the trim extend. So I go this body and this body are going to have. Guess let's put a miter in for that one, or it's done that, or it's done that, or it's done. It doesn't know what it wants to do there because this is for if I want to chop. If this is going all the way through and I want to just cut whatever it is lining up with that, but it doesn't really work on the corner. So I can do that. I'll just double check that works on this corner here because I've done the bodies instead. Okay, so only mirror bodies after you've done your corner work is the thing to learn about that. Oh no, there you go, it still works. So I can do that. But yeah, I'll add another line in here to show you the example of that third option. Structural member, I'll chuck him in there. And then so I want to go trim extend. This one's getting trimmed, and I'm trimming like wherever this thing's colliding with. And I'm actually going to pick two things. So I'm going to go this one and this one. Why is it selecting faces? This one and this one, right? So it's actually trimmed, where it's colliding, and I click OK, and that's done that. Now, one last tip. So let's say you've, done your nice cool frame and you want to start making drawings or export DXFs or something like that. To do so, you're probably going to want these broken up, right? And you can do that while this is in a part. If I go right click, I can insert this stick here as a new part. Go, yep, I want that thing there. Yes, and it'll export that at whatever length it is. I'll have to save it to do anything, and then I can make drawings of that part, and it will say, okay, it needs to be 1950. So that's a cool tip there. And then I'll quickly show DXFs in this video. DXFs can be added by done by just going right click, export to DXF. Yes, and then it'll say what face. Okay, and then it'll export that, save that, and go from there. I'll add that in another video too. But anyway, thank you for watching. That's all for this tutorial. See you later.